Alright, this is Matt here today working with Limitless Motorsports Garage, working on the 2007 Frontier. This is actually my uncle's truck. He's loaned it to me for a little bit while I get my car situation taken care of. He did ask me to do him a favor though. There was a stipulation to me driving the truck. He wanted me to do some work on it for him. Today we're going to be replacing both cam position sensors and the crank position sensor. Typical symptoms of the cam sensors and crank sensor going bad in these is the car, the vehicle will shut off and die on you. It's a typical problem with the Xteras, the Frontiers, and the Pathfinders, the 4.0 liters. The newer ones above, I think 2010, they put new sensors in them and they don't do it anymore. But he was complaining that it was dying on him while he was sitting in traffic, especially at an incline or any kind of uneven surface. It's even died on me a few times, and it's the cam sensors and the crank sensors. So what we're going to do is, to get to the cam sensors, they're on the back side of the head, and I can't remember where the crank sensor is. We'll have to look that up. But today we're going to show you how to change out the cam sensors on a 2007 Frontier. Let's get started. Your mission, do you choose to accept it? Okay, so to find the cam sensor on the driver's side, it's right back here. Just follow the AC line. It's directly down. It is a 10mm bolt. All of these, they're both cam sensors and crank sensor are a 10mm bolt, and we kind of already cracked it loose. So, take out this 5-mile long bolt. At least it hit the ground. At least it hit the ground. That's all that matters. It hit the ground. Okay, and there's one of our cam sensors. Ooh, nice and ole. Ole, ole.
It's
ole, ole. Ole of ole. These, I didn't know these were made in Mexico. They're a little ole. So, what we're going to do, let's go ahead and pop this connector loose right here. Okay, so to get this little clip off right here, you have to push in on it on the bottom. Like that, but without fucking breaking it. Push it in, and it'll come loose. So you might have to use a little screwdriver. But we went ahead and put the sensor in. You can look back here. There's where the sensor is. May not be able to see it very well, but it's right here. Like I said, it's just a 110mm bolt holding it in. That's really all it takes. Just for future reference, if you're going to do this, make sure you do it while the vehicle's cold, not been driven. Don't go drive all day and decide, hey, I'm going to change my damn sensor out and lay on top of a hot motor. This thing's been sitting here for a little bit, so that's why I'm out here doing it. Alright, now you just take a cream. Yeah, there you go. All you have to do is start to throw a temperature and it works. This is what the cam position sensor looks like. It's the older style. These things have a tendency to break down over time. I mean, not to mention, I kind of failed to mention this truck has 211,000 miles on it. So it's a little overdue for some general routine maintenance. There's some other stuff I'm doing to this truck. We might film it. I've got to replace both top catalytic converters, serpentine belt, both front wheel bearings, front rotors, and front pads on this thing. I did add some fuel system cleaner through it. Yeah, kind of help them out. All we got to do now is change out this other sensor. Alright, let's take the next one out and see where we go from here. They did say the one on the passenger side was the biggest bitch to get to. When with about 10 to 15 minutes of wrestling, here's the passenger side one out. If you look back here, this is the biggest bunch of fucker I've ever seen. It is right there, right fucking there, and it is so hard to get to. Damn.
We actually had to leave the back of the plug on there to get it out.
Yeah.
The other one we took the plug off, but this one just would not come.
So here's the new one. Jesus Christ! All right, let's get this bitch put back in. All right, there it is. There it is. Put back in, if at all possible. I said, the angle you gotta come in here at to get to this thing is fucking astronomical.
Yeah, the driver's side was a lot easier.
Yeah, dude, the driver's side is so much easier, dude. There it goes. Wow, victory! Alright, where does this go again? No, I'm kidding, it's right here. 2 down. 1 to go on another day. Got both cam sensors replaced. Whenever you change out those cam sensors, it's not gonna fix the problem right away. If you're not anywhere close to a dealership where you can't use something called like console, or you can't hook it up and use a laptop or reprogram it or OBD2 scanner, just take the negative terminal off, leave it off for about 30 to 60 seconds, and let's see, the check engine light's still going to be on in this thing because of the catalytic converters. Those were actually delivered at the house a few minutes ago. And please, for the love of God, take it from somebody that works at a dealership and changes batteries out on a daily basis. Don't over torque your damn battery terminal. And another thing, if you notice they're starting to corrode, replace them. It gets to a point where they're too corroded for you to take off anymore, and then you have to bring it to us, and then we have to like cut them off, and it's not fun. Let's fire up the old shit pile here. Idling better already, man. Before, what it was doing is, even when it was sitting in idle, it would surge like really bad. I mean, you could watch the RPM hand drop really low. It might still do it just a little bit. That's because we didn't change out the crank sensor. That's because I'm tired. I don't feel like fighting with it today. We'll do it another day. In order to get to the crank sensor on this, you have to take this wheel off, go in behind the splash shield, and it is on the back side behind the wheel. It is a pain in the ass to get to. It might be one of those I might just do it at work because I have access to the lift, and it'd be easier for me to stand up and reach up in there and break it loose that way. See, idling a lot smoother now. Before, the idle was like really sporadic. All it is the circuit style that's in those sensors. I don't know why Nissan used them all those years, but once you get like around 100, 125,000 miles, if you don't replace them, it'll start throwing codes for cam sensor. It'll start dying on you. Now, how to tell like the difference between if the cam sensor or the crank sensor has went bad, completely bad on you? Cam sensors, it'll die intermittently and it'll still crank up. When the crank sensor goes bad, it'll just die and won't crank back up. So don't panic. It's not a fuel pump or anything like that. You can tell there's symptoms there of a bad crank sensor. Replaced our camshaft position sensors on the Frontier. In the next few videos, we're probably going to look into doing the crank shaft position sensor, the serpentine belt, both front wheel bearings, the front rotors, and the front pads on it. For now, I believe that's all that they're wanting to do to get the truck fixed. Everything else that they're wanting done, like the brake fluid exchange, coolant exchange, the rear diff service and stuff like that, is stuff that I won't be able to film, mostly because I have to do that using the equipment at work. But for now, I think that's going to do it for it. Oil cooler oil ring. That's another thing that we're going to have to do, and that'll be done during the next oil change as well. So stick around. You'll see a few more videos of the Frontier coming up. You'll probably see some other cars featured on the channel here soon as well, just to kind of keep things rolling until we get money built up and put up for the next level project. Yeah, dang. Boy. God damn it, Bobby, I'll tell you what. This her engine's hot.
That boy ain't right.
Is that bolt 5 miles long?
Put the impact to the...
Just fucking send it. Where are you?
Where the world is calling San Diego.
Where in the world does this motherfucking clip go? I feel like it right there. Come on! Come on! Oh! To be able to do this as well. No, I can't seem to find the hole. Tight, the bolt. Do it half a turn. Tap it off, do it again.
Lose your wrench.
And it's a 10 mil. Subtract your hand and do the biz. Never be seen again. Okay. I bet it's tight.
Are you sure about that?
Plug it in, plug it in. It's not that simple. Are you too good for your home? Will you just plug in, please? Your mother and I love you very much.